Walk-off home run, nobody really likes playing extra innings. And, when you're losing a game the way we were down in the game, we kind of let one slide away. And just that's what I said yesterday. Just when you're getting bored of watching Albert hit home runs, he comes through in that situation and hits a blast. And, being on deck, the only thing I saw it off the bat, I heard it, I knew it was a home run. And then it was just a matter of kind of the little lean to see if it's fair, if it's foul. And when you see it go out of the ballpark and the noise from the stands and everything hits, it's a pretty cool experience.
Welcome to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, PNC Park. That'll be the site of this year's All-Star Game as the Cardinals and the Pirates hook up for the first of 15 meetings this year. Scott Rowland, not once, not twice, but 3 times had one of the best views of those home runs off the bat of Albert Pujols yesterday afternoon. And my friend Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. I'm telling you what, that was some kind of show on Easter Sunday by Mr. Pujols.
Well, he really put on a show, and of course, as Scott said, it almost a victory slipped away, but then Sir Albert came to the rescue. And how did he come to the rescue? He picked up everybody, and wasn't it nice to see that little stutter step, little dance right before he jumps into the arms of all his teammates.
Let's take a look at our Ford Key matchup. Home run leaders now, as this has been updated. Detroit's Chris Shelton hits one this afternoon. He's at 9. Albert leads the National League with 8, and lo and behold, old Barry Bonds with none. And I think that has shocked the baseball world, the fact that Bonds has no home runs.
Oh yeah, maybe surgery looming around the corner with those 10 or 12 bone chips or something, but Shelton, Rule 5 draftee from the Pirates.
And that's Jim Leland, the former Pirate manager, leading the Detroit Tigers. And of course, we are in Pittsburgh to take on the Pirates. This is game number 1 of a 3-game set on the banks of the Allegheny. Cardinals baseball tonight on FSN as Jason Marquis gets the start on this brief 3-game road trip and tries to go to 3-0. Cardinal baseball coming up. Gorgeous night for baseball here in Pittsburgh. The beautiful downtown skyline just across the way as we welcome you inside to PNC Park as Jason Marquis looks to go 3-0 this season. A look at the Cardinals lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It'll be David Eckstein to lead things off and play shortstop, followed by Taguchi and Pujols. Then Roland, Encarnacion, Molina, Luna, Schumacher. Late insertion into the lineup after Rodriguez fell ill. And Marquis, always a threat from the 9 spot in the lineup for Tony La Russa. That's brought to you by Southwest Airlines and Paul Maholm, a record of 0-1 and ERA near 8. And he is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. His numbers this season as Eckstein leads it off and looks at a strike, and we're underway. 62 degrees here in Pittsburgh. Charlie Relaford, the crew chief, is behind home plate. Larry Vanover at first. Greg Gibson, the second base umpire, and Paul Newart over at third. A low strike there on Eckstein, and it's 0-2.
23-year-old left-hander from Mississippi. He has never faced the Cardinals.
And an 0-2 pitch to David. Spoiled as he lines it into the Cardinal dugout.
The problem with the Pirates, and they are an improved ball club, but they have so many young pitchers, particularly in the starting rotation, and they only have 2 quality starts, both by Zach Duke. They are giving up a lot of runs early. Their team's trying to battle back, and they are kind of struggling because of their starting pitching. Not struggling is Eckstein, the average at 300, and he hit 400 on the homestand.
Led the team with 10 hits on that 6-game homestand to open up the new Busch. And he picked up the St. Louis's first hit in the new stadium with a bunt single. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes on the Cardinal leadoff man.
A little different atmosphere, isn't it?
Sure is. A lot of empty seats here at PNC Park. They will host the All-Star Game this year. And one of the ways to try to get people to the ballpark is by offering a ticket to the All-Star Game if you have a season ticket. So their numbers are up with season tickets, but still the fans have not really been coming out. And a 2-2 pitch. Grounded to the right side. That'll be taken by Jose Castillo. Over to first, and there's 1 away. Defensively, the Pirates have been playing very well. And this is brought to you by Auto Tire. Bay, Duffy, and Burnitz in the outfield. Randa, Jack Wilson. Many think he'll win the Gold Glove this year at short. Castillo at second. Craig Wilson off to a hot start over at first. And Ronnie Paulino was just called up. Ryan Dumit is on the DL, so Jim Tracy turns it over to Ronnie Paulino behind the plate. And here is Sho Taguchi off to a sluggish start. No homers, no RBIs, and a 179 average. There's a look at Mr. Tracy.
Former Dodger managers come over here, solid baseball man.
1-0 pitch to Sho. Line foul, 1 ball, 1 strike. Tony La Russa telling me before the game that, you know, Jim Tracy's a guy, Al, that he thinks is the perfect situation for this Pirates team. Very consistent in his actions. Not too high, not too low, and with a young team, he feels that's what you need. Pulled to the left side. Wilson slides for it, but they're not going to get Taguchi, and it's a 1-out base hit. And it brings in that man again, Albert Pujols.
See the maturity level of Jack Wilson. A few years ago, he probably would have tried to make the miraculous throw, but you know Taguchi's going to leave the batter's box, hustle all the way, and Jack Wilson showing maturity, just puts the ball in his pocket, concede the hit.
Here's Albert Pujols, who has just absolutely crushed Pirates pitching in this ballpark. 3 home runs yesterday, 8 on the season, and he looks at a fastball low and away.
He has the most home runs in this ballpark by any visiting player. Second on that list is Jim Edmonds.
16 career home runs. Edmonds, of course, not in the lineup tonight. Could pinch hit. It's a strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pujols 4 hits shy of 1,000 for his major league career, and it seems like those have come lickety split, doesn't it?
Yeah, just
4 away from 1,000 already.
It's almost every year at 200 hits.
Here comes a 1-1 pitch on the inside corner. 1-2 on Albert Pujols. So he's leading in home runs in the National League, and he checks in with 17 RBIs.
Hard to believe he wasn't the National League Player of the Week. Pirates' Craig Wilson, their first baseman, was.
A 1-2 pitch, instead a step off. I wonder if it was made, that decision was made prior to the game yesterday.
It seemed like it would have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a good season, good week, did Wilson, but seemed like Albert would have to have a better one. And the young Chris Shelton, who leads major leagues with 9 home runs. Pirates left him exposed a couple years ago because they said we already have one of those type, Craig Wilson.
Jim Leland was happy to pick him up, and he's got 9 home runs for the Tigers, and Detroit has played pretty good baseball so far.
Yeah, 2 years ago they had to keep Sheldon on the roster all season long. Last year they were able to send him down for a couple months, and he had 18 home runs when he came up.
Check on Taguchi, who was leading, and the count is 2-2 on Albert Pujols. His last home run really was a tough pitch by David Weathers. It was in, and yet Pujols was able to get the hands through and still keep the ball fair down the left field line.
He's a rotation hitter, and nobody is quicker turning on pitches. I mean, Eckstein is probably the quickest of the Cardinals, but when Albert is not lunging, and the last couple days he has just been locked in. But you could see him just able to turn on a pitch, and then he has the ability to keep that ball down the left field line, keep it fair. When most people, they hit that ball and it goes foul.
6 walk-off home runs for Pujols. Ooh, right on the pitch and fouled it back. Tony La Russa was telling me before the game, he said that's Charlie Lau coming through with a guy like Albert Pujols, that style of hitting. In his mind, he's one of the guys that has changed the game of baseball, Charlie Lau, and his style of hitting. McGuire's like that. A-Rod is similar. 2-2 pitch. Pujols out to center. Pretty well hit. Duffy back at the track, at the wall. He's done it again. Albert Pujols with a mammoth shot here in the first. A 2-run home run, and it's 2-0 Cardinals on Pujols' 9th.
And don't forget the RBI leader in the National League now with 19.
Normally these are going out to left field. This one to center field, and it actually hit off the backdrop, that green backdrop out there in center field. This ball is absolutely crushed by Pujols.
You watch the catcher's reaction. That was a breaking ball's inside. It's a hanger out over the plate, and Albert didn't miss it. He smoked that one. And this is what's happened frequently to the Pirates. These young pitchers giving up runs in the first inning.
Well, Mahomes, his first 3 innings in the other 2 starts that he had, he allowed 8 runs. After that, he settled down. Now you can make it 10 that he is allowed. As Roland shoots this one down the right field line and foul. No balls and 2 strikes. How big of a key, Al, is it that this guy has picked up his game? And it's Scott Rolen providing a little protection behind Albert Pujols, and if you get Edmonds going, you get even more.
Well, you have to have somebody hitting behind him. Albert already has been walked second most in the National League. He's behind Todd Helton in that department. You know, Todd doesn't have much protection, but if they're going to walk him unless somebody does the job. Edmonds have been struggling, but Rolen has picked up the pace. He only had 5 hits on the homestand, but 6 RBIs.
Rolling out to center field. Duffy going back in front of the track, and he makes the catch on the track for out number 2. So Albert Pujols now 17 career home runs here at PNC Park. And Tony La Russa was saying that yesterday was a day that fans will talk about forever. And that first homestand at the new Busch Stadium.
Well, I don't know how you can not like the new stadium, but you know, sure, fans have memories, but they're going to have new memories at the new ballpark, and Albert provided a big one in yesterday's game.
Here's Juan Encarnacion, who is pressing.
He needs some hugs and some love.
I'm telling you. I'm sending you down there, Al. Go
already
for
did it. Already did it.
A broken bat hit to the right side, and a base hit for Juan Encarnacion.
I already told him he's going to be my star of the day. You know, I said, you need something. You need something positive. And he really is starting to swing the bat a little better. He's worked a lot with Hal McRae, trying to keep his weight back. You know, he's been moving his head a lot. He's been diving towards the plate. But the one thing that Hal will tell you here is when he keeps his hands back, he can do all kinds of movement, keeps his hands back, he's going to be all right. And when he gets some pitches, you see the ball jump off his bat.
He's just pressing. You can just see him just squeezing the bat. I mean, just trying to make a name for himself now with a new team. Been dropped down in the lineup to the 5th spot instead of hitting in front of Pujols.
Well, and Tony and I spoke about that you know, once he starts swinging the bat better, that, you know, don't be surprised if he goes back to the 2 spot. He's just right now, you know, he's just fighting everything, offensively, defensively. That was the second ball he just kind of lost. It looks bad, you know, you look like it's nonchalanting it, but, you know, as you said, he's trying too hard.
And you take some of those offensive woes to the defense. I don't know about you, Al. I'm not so sure we have figured out in 6 games whether it's a pitcher's park, a fair park, a hitter's park, despite all the home runs yesterday. I mean, time is going to tell.
Forget about that. I mean, you know, when you start seeing middle infielders hitting the ball the opposite field, then it's a hitter's park. I mean, you have, you know, when you got Dunn and you get, you know, and you got Kearns in there, those guys are going to hit balls. Albert and, you know, Roland and Luna. Luna's got some pop. But remember, those guys are hitting the ball to the shortest part of the field, the left field. These people late in the ball game trying to pitch inside, don't go get it far enough in. You know, guys put good swings on it and they hit it to the short part of the field. You used to pitch inside to get people off the plate so you could get them out of the way.
1-1 pitch misses in to Yadier Molina.
Straight away in the outfield, bunching. This is an improved defense, but you can see all these fielders kind of back on their heels as this long first inning, and now they're uphill battle for the Buccos.
2-1 pitch is chopped back to the pitcher. Mahomes has got it and tosses over to Craig Wilson. The Cardinals strand a man, but Albert Pujols now 3 hits shy of 1,000 as he cranks one to center. A 2-run homer. Pujols 4 consecutive at-bats now, going back to yesterday, and his first one tonight with a home run. It ties a major league record. 4 consecutive has been done 35 times. Last to do it, Carlos Delgado back in '03. The Pirates lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines, Duffy, Wilson, Bay, and then the newcomer Burnitz. 17 strikeouts this season, 3rd most in the league. Craig Wilson off to a fine start, then Joe Randa, Castillo, Paulino, and Mahone the pitcher. On the mound, our Rico starter is Jason Marquis for St. Louis. Al?
Off to a very good start, trying to run that record 3-0. And last year, hard to believe, he never beat the Buccos. Winless in 4 starts, 0-2, high ERA. And Jason Bay and Craig Wilson were a big part of the reason why he struggled.
Marquis, 56 career innings against the Buccos. He's only allowed 8 home runs to him. Keeps the ball in the ballpark for the most part, but he has a record of 2-3 against Pittsburgh. Chris Duffy, their leadoff man and center fielder with good speed, is off to a slow start, hitting just 178. And this is a Pirates team that offensively has been very good. Right back to Marquis, and he'll trot it over to Albert for the first out. They're second in baseball, Al, with 21 home runs, and they've got a bunch of hits as well along the way. Only 2 other teams have hit the ball better in that department. Auto Tire defense, Schumacher, Taguchi, and Encarnacion in the outfield. Roland, Eckstein, Luna, and Pujols on the infield. Molina behind the plate. Marquis on the mound, and that's a look at your Auto Tire defense.
Well, Tony knows they've got some boppers, and they have some pitching, but it's young. You know, Kip Wells, and he went down to, and he'll be back at the All-Star break. You know, one of their veterans. Just like to have a few veterans around to teach these young kids.
Here's Jack Wilson. Hits it to his counterpart at short. That's Eckstein, and 2 away.
Jason really off to a good start right here, and you know he's such a great athlete.
This ball seemed to explode back in on the hands of Wilson and tie him up.
But Jack's already got 3 home runs. He had 3 all last year. So you try and go inside on him, make sure you get in there, and that was in his kitchen.
Here's Jason Bay. He, along with Craig Wilson, very good numbers against Marquis in their careers. Bay is 10 for 19 against the Cardinal starter.
See if he can't change things around a little bit.
Bay on the year, hitting .319, pair of home runs and 5 RBIs. This guy put together just a fantastic year a season ago. The first Pirate in their history to bat .300 and collect at least 30 home runs, 40 doubles, 20 steals, 100 runs scored, and 100 driven in.
And that's hard for me to believe when the Cobra, Dave Parker, you know, Stargell could get to 40 doubles and obviously the home runs, but you would think Parker, when he first came up, couldn't believe how fast he was.
Ball 4 to Bay that brings in Burnitz. Matter of fact, after all those numbers I just read off, he was the only major leaguer to do that, as Bay was an all-star a year ago, and now brings in Burnitz. Burnitz had kind of a odd offseason, one in which he felt he was going to Baltimore, and then he, along with his agent, felt that the contract that they originally agreed to, they just didn't feel comfortable with it as far as some of the clauses, as medical assurances that the club wanted, and Burnitz backed out of the deal, and he signed on with the Pirates to play right field.
I really think this is an improved ball club, and particularly when you add Burnitz and Randa, they improve their defense.
Outfield shading him to pull just a bit, and it's tapped back to Marquis, so the Pirates will strand a runner. And we have played one here at PNC Park. The difference in this game so far, Albert Pujols with his 2-run homer. Bottom of the lineup for St. Louis coming up, 7, 8, 9 in the order. Willis, who's raising the bar. And the question tonight, which of the new stadiums is the most scenic in the National League Central? You can text your vote to 42957. And your singular wireless phone will give you those results later in our telecast. Luna and Skip Schumacher and Jason Marquis for the Cardinals, leading 2-0 here in the top of the second. And again, John Rodriguez, a late scratch for the Cardinals. An apparent allergic reaction to something he ate, Al, is that correct?
Well, I was out in batting practice, and all of a sudden his lips started swelling, and areas around his face or something like that, so they went in.
Well, we hope he's going to be all right. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Luna. Get out of play and foul. Jim Tracy, the manager of the Pirates, trying to turn around 13 consecutive losing seasons here in Pittsburgh. They finished up 67 and 95 last year. Pirates reached the 500 mark just once in 2005, as that's inside the Luna. They were 30 and 30 on June 11th. Then they finished up 37 and 65 the rest of the way. 2-2 pitch to Hector Luna. And again, they go back inside. And one of the points of emphasis heading into the series is the second baseman Jose Castillo and Hector Luna. You might remember back in August, Luna breaking up a double play, took out Castillo and tore up his knee. And the Pirates took exception to that as that one catches the outside corner, and Luna's a little unhappy with that call. First strikeout for Paul Mahone.
A lot of pitches inside, and then it looks like he gets a ball, goes around the plate. And you can understand why Luna thought he had walked. But Charlie Rutherford, our home plate umpire, gives it to the young lefty.
Here's Skip Schumacher with one out and nobody on. Schumacher from Southern California, but grew up a Cardinals fan. He's telling me the other day his favorite player, Ozzie Smith. He's hitting .214 to start the season. He said growing up he played middle infield, and he realized that if he was going to play professional baseball, he was going to have to move to the outfield. He did so in his final year in college. He played center field, which most people will tell you it's probably the toughest of the three outfield spots, and one of the toughest in baseball, trying to get reads off the bat. And he's a guy, Al, now that can play center, left, or right and do it above average. Very good defensively for the Cardinals. Just gets a piece to stay alive.
And he's improved quite a bit as a hitter. Al McRae really very pleased with his progress, and you can see a dramatic difference from what we saw last year, the first of 3 stints with the Cardinals.
Gets a piece again to stay alive. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Skip Schumacher.
I was with Tony when he found out about Rodriguez's reaction. He said, okay, Miles or Schumacher? He goes, well, I'll put Schumacher in there because I have more versatility with Miles on the bench.
2-2 the count. Tony La Russa
didn't ask my opinion.
And your opinion would have been?
Oh, exactly what Tony did.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. He got on the chase. Friday night, get a look around the major leagues. It's the FSN Baseball Report. We're covering every team all season long with highlights, interviews, and analysis you just don't get anywhere else. The FSN Baseball Report, Friday, 6 o'clock here on FSN. And Friday night, back home at Busch as Chicago makes their first visit. This one is tapped to the right side. This will be handled by Jose Castillo, and the Cardinals go 1-2-3. So Mahomes settles down, gets a pair of strikeouts. And we move to the bottom half of the second with St. Louis on top 2-0 thanks to an Albert Pujols 2-run shot. The second at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, site of this year's All-Star Game. And the city of Pittsburgh, no stranger to hosting the All-Star Game. Pirates, the first major league franchise to host the All-Star Game in 3 different venues. Forbes Field twice, Three Rivers Stadium, they did it twice, and now in PNC Park. And apparently out back home in St. Louis, 2009 would be the earliest, it looks like, that the Cardinals would host an All-Star Game, and one of the reasons why is to try to get the ballpark village up and running and get that thing flowing so that for the most part it's ready to roll by 2009. They will break ground on the village right after the season ends in 2006.
And with so many new ballparks going up in the National League, they've kind of broke tradition. Going American League, National League, rotate.
Luna's going to call for it, and he takes it. Craig Wilson retired.
Well, you walked his nemesis, Jason Bay, and then he gets Craig Wilson. So a good start for Jason Marquis.
Here's Joe Randa, 3 hits shy of 1,500 for his career. Guy that's bounced around a little bit.
Kind of surprised he left here first time around. Went from Kansas City to here and played very well, and they sent him packing. So he's a good, solid ball player.
One ball, one strike with one out, nobody on. A Cardinal killer. Joe Randa against St. Louis, 369. The count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Randa mentioned that he had bounced around. Royals, Tigers, Pirates, Reds. Count is 3-1. In the second, Cardinals lead it 2-0. 1 out, nobody on. And a grounder hit to short, taken there by David Eckstein. There's 2 away. It brings in Jose Castillo. And we talked about now before how the players, you know, there was retaliation along the way, in particular with Rick White and hitting some of the Cardinal players a year ago. Hector Luna obviously going after him to just kind of retaliate after the slide. But you know, the players were asked about it prior to the series, and they said, look, that was more of a management thing with Gerald Perry and Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan. The players got into it to an extent, but not as much as you might think. Out to center field, room for Taguchi for the 3rd out. And the Pirates go 1-2-3 here in the bottom of the second. Cardinals have the top of the order coming up. That means Mr. Pujols is due up 3rd. 1-2-3 in their half of the second. We're in the 3rd, and the Redbirds lead it 2-0. Alongside of Albert Bosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin here on FSN and our Bud Productions crew. Eckstein grounded out to second his first time up. Is it safe to say that Albert Pujols is locked in, Al? Can I go out on a limb and just say that?
Yes, you can say that, and let's hope he maintains it with that 5th straight. Set a little major league record here tonight.
So 35 have done it. 4 consecutive at bats with home runs. The last to do it, Delgado, back in 2003, and he was with the Blue Jays. The last National League player to do it, Andrew Jones, hit to short, taken by Wilson. 1 away. Eckstein 0 for 2, and it brings in So Taguchi. 1 out, nobody on. Crowd control here, Al.
Maybe Barry Bonds is somewhere in here.
Taguchi singled and scored on that home run by Pujols in the 1st. Playing center field tonight. Jim Edmonds, we at first thought would not play in the series. He is available to pinch hit tonight. And more than likely the Cardinals will get him some time on Wednesday. This one is hit out to right and taken in by Jeremy Burnitz. So it looks like you can pencil in Edmonds to start on Wednesday, and it brings in Albert. All of a sudden Mahomes has settled down after a shaky 1st.
Well, it's kind of what happens with a lot of young pitchers. They're a little anxious, make mistakes early, and then and once they fall behind, then they kind of settle in and relax.
First pitch to Albert.
You know, Dan, the only way you're going to learn is to pitch. And be out on that mound and experience it.
Well, the first at bat for Pujols, he hit it out to center field, and there it is. It's still in the hedges out there as it hit off the green backdrop. Almost put a hole through it. And it's 2-1 on Albert Pujols, trying to make it 5 consecutive ABs with a home run. 17 in this ballpark. He has got 9 on the year. The 2-1 pitch. 3-1 with Scott Rowland on deck. Pujols has drawn 13 walks this year. But he can go digging in right now. And the count, 3 balls, 1 strike. The next to Pujols. Albert out to right center. He rifles it. That's going to get down. 1 hop off the wall. Albert Pujols will dig for 2, and he's 2 for 2.
He's limping. Kind of limping in there into second base. I hope it's okay. And you have to respect the young pitchers that even falling behind 3-1, he doesn't want to walk him. He has to earn his way on. There's a breaking ball right towards the end of the bat, and he one hops the wall out in center field. Just look at this, a perfect balance, just driving that ball out there.
Al, at what point, if you're an opposing team, do you start treating Albert Pujols like Barry Bonds? I mean, he's starting to get into that territory where everything he hits is a rocket. He's hitting for extra base hits, clutch hits. A lot of people were shocked that David Weathers was even pitching to Pujols in that situation yesterday. I think you don't intentionally walk him, but maybe if you don't give him anything to hit.
Well,
and the pitch he hit, he hit a good pitch, but I think as a closer, you're saying, I got to go after him.
But why are you throwing inside?
Yep, and that's the key.
Why are you throwing inside? You know, but he just showed you what he can do with an outside breaking ball too. But as a pitcher, you got to believe that you can get every hitter out. Because the minute you start saying, I'm going to pitch around him, at some point you're going to face him with the bases loaded and the game on the line, and you've told yourself or programmed your mind mentally that you can't retire him. So you're going to lose that game too. So you've got to go out there and know the odds are still in your favor. Just challenge him with good stuff.
3-0 to Scott Rowland. Catches the outside corner. Rowland flied to center field his first time up. The pitch that he hit for the 3rd home run was not a bad pitch. Like you said, it was on the inside portion of the plate, and he was able to keep it fair and drive it out of the ballpark. Full count now on Rowland with Encarnacion on deck. Pretty much straight away for Scott Rowland.
Yeah, bunch him in the outfield a little bit.
Pujols, the runner at second base, the 3-2. Ball 4 to Scott Rowland. The thing that made the at-bat so incredible with Pujols yesterday is that if guys do get a piece of it, more times than not, they're either sawed off or they pull it into the seats and yank it foul. But Albert has the uncanny ability to keep that ball fair.
He can rotate his hips. He has very little movement when he's swinging right. He had some bad at bats in the World Baseball Classic, and he kind of kicked into times where he's off balance and out on the front. But when he's locked in like he has been the last couple days, no one can rotate and keep their hands inside the ball as well as he does.
Encarnacion broke his bat first time up, picked up a single into right field. Runners at first and second with 2 down. Paul Mahomes, 6'2", 215-pounder, 8th overall pick back in 2003. Out of Mississippi State. 1-2 to count. 2 outs, runners in scoring position, and let's see if the do factor steps up. For Juan Encarnacion, he's 0 for 8. Out to right field, on the move, Burnitz, and he'll make the catch. So the Cardinals strand 2. They've left 3 on in the first 3 innings. 2-0 single. Baseball history is brought to you by Schnucks. Pirate rookie Roberto Clemente singles off pitcher Johnny Padres in his first major league at bat, April 17th of 1955. Clemente Bridge, and of course here at the ballpark, 21 feet high in right field is the wall in right field. swing and a miss by Ronnie Paulino. I know you had a chance to play against Clemente, one of the all-time greats.
Oh, absolutely. And I can envision what Steve Blass was talking about, the way he would gallop, the way he ran. Just, if you ever get a chance to see some of the terrific video of his throwing arm, I mean, put people to shame. You would see the way guys throw today. I mean, he was just unbelievable. And truly, as you said, all facets of the game. Five-tool. Jason falling behind here to a young catcher that was just recalled yesterday. And he played on the Dominican team in that World Baseball Classic. Very big, strong, powerful catcher.
The 3-1 pitch. Pounded in the dirt. And it's 3-2. We can see that Marquis will fiddle with the mound after, it seems like almost every pitch. Just seems to be a little bit uncomfortable out there.
Sometimes you land in the other guy's landing area.
Broke his bat. And it's hit out to center field. So Taguchi is there for the first out. Roberto Clemente, the Hall of Famer.
Watch this throw. I didn't really think anything behind it, but I mean, see some of the games, the All-Star games. Wasn't a real big guy. Without my contribution, he wouldn't have 3,000 hits.
3,000 hits and a tragic death. A humanitarian helping out his homeland.
I started one game against the Pirates in Ford Field. You know how Dave Duncan and how the scouting reports are? I'm warming up. I had 2 relief appearances, 20 years old. Warming up, pitching coach says, I'm not going to tell you how to pitch these guys. You already know how. I don't know when I learned or where. They say, Clemente, don't throw anything inside. Don't even try and knock him down. We'll hit it for a rope. First 2 guys that get out, face Clemente, throw a curveball. He gets face it over shortstop. He gets Stargell out and come in. He says, I forgot to tell you, don't throw me curveballs either.
That's the scouting report.
That was the scouting report. One person.
Now, the Cardinals arrive at the ballpark for a 7 o'clock game. We'll get on the bus around 3:30. Get here by 3:45, 4 o'clock, so plenty of time to prepare. What time did you guys leave with Fred to the ballpark?
Well, even at the beginning, we had 8 o'clock games at times, even in New York, and we'd leave at 5 o'clock for an 8 o'clock game and get stuck in rush hour traffic and never make it for batting practice. But Tony, like you said, the bus leaves at 3:30 for a 7 o'clock game, and there may be 1 or 2 players on it, because everyone is already at the ballpark. Many of them have been here for hours.
Staring at video,
doing all kinds of little different things, but just, there is something about being at the ballpark. Your mind is thinking baseball.
I thought it was interesting in the pregame show. Jim Edmonds talked about how Tony La Russa will not allow his players to get comfortable. As many times as they have been to postseason play, this terrific run that they're in, he said, you just don't take it for granted. They don't let you.
No, and you have to make a commitment to Tony and his staff, but they make a double commitment back to you to play. Not everyone can play for Tony La Russa, but the guys that are here thoroughly enjoy playing for him, and it keeps you focused. Albert sits there and says, hey, my teammates keep making me as good as I am.
2-1 pitch to Chris Duffy, the leadoff man, is taken for a ball. 3-1. Duffy rounded back to Jason Marquis, who again falls behind his first time up. Pirates really like this guy. Center fielder, switch hitter, 8th round pick back in 2001. Pounds it foul. Played at Arizona State, and another Pirate played at Arizona State. A guy named Bonds did for a while.
He's hit safely in 6 of his last 7 starts.
A 3-2 pitch to Duffy. Pounded in the dirt again. Marquis off the mound, can't come up with it. May have taken a little tricky hop on him. It's an infield hit for Duffy. The first base hit for the Pirates tonight.
Jason's such a great athlete, usually fields his position very well, and he might have beat Albert a little bit. Little number out here. Comes over. Albert thinks he's going to field it, and then when he didn't pick it up, he goes to the bag, and Albert had to change direction. But that's all they can muster off him. You know he is controlling the at-bats.
First time through, he had 3 ground ball outs and a strikeout for Marquis, and now it's Jack Wilson. 2 down and a runner at first. Up and in to the Pirates shortstop. Now you're talking about much better pop, and you can see the body has changed with Jack Wilson. As last year he came into spring training during the offseason, had an appendectomy, lost weight, was weak for the better part of the first half of the season, really didn't put up very good numbers, but we know this guy can really play. Only hit .257 a year ago, and the year before he hit over 300 at .308. Time is called by Yadier Molina. 2 balls and no strikes.
Oh, trying to get in there, and he's definitely missing in off the plate.
Let's see if the landing area is playing tricks on Marquis.
Well, like I said, sometimes you'll get a guy that your counterpart will go out there and make a hole, dig a hole, and you know maybe you're a little bit shorter or taller, and you'll fall into that hole, slide off, and don't feel like you have a good stand.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Wilson out to left. Schumacher with plenty of room. He'll put it away. And the Pirates are done here in the bottom half of the 3rd. They strand their 2nd runner of the night. We move to the 4th, and the Cardinals lead it 2-0. PNC Park, Dan McLaughlin, Al Grabowski with you and our Bud Productions crew. A brief 3-game road trip for St. Louis. This stop in Pittsburgh, and then we're back home for a nice long homestand, beginning with the Cubbies on Friday night. Yadier Molina rounded out back in the 1st. He is 0 for 1. So he hit it back to the pitcher, Paul Mahome. And the Cardinals want to make sure that if you do not have tickets for any of the games this summer, you might want to think about next week when the Pirates are in town. Tickets are available, and all seating types are available. Check it out online at stlcardinals.com. But very good seats, says Molina. It's it down the left field line and foul, out of play. Also, you can go to the Prime Seat Club, but if you're looking for an actual seat to the ballpark, not just standing room, check out the website at stlcardinals.com when Pittsburgh is in town next week.
Of course, you always want to tell you to go to the Prime Seat Club. Season ticket holders using tickets for certain games will put those back into circulation. So some of the best seats in the house are available frequently.
Here comes a 1-2 pitch to the Cardinal catcher Molina, and he spoils it.
Holland, Memphis, makes his home now in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, but he was named Memphis' best of the preps in his senior year.
Played at Mississippi State, always a powerhouse in college baseball. Throws in the low 90s. He's got a curve, a slider, and a changeup.
He's the Pittsburgh minor league pitcher of the year last year. Played in the Futures game in Detroit.
It's pounded foul.
The All-Star game, but it's kind of a question: is he being rushed to the big leagues too soon? We're already talking about Snell being taken out of the rotation.
Curveball catches the outside corner. That has been a wide, I mean wide strike zone, especially the right-handed hitters on the outside corner. My goodness, it's where it crosses the plate, Al. It looks to be a few inches outside.
Up and away. Charlie Rutherford is giving those pitches to the rookie.
It brings in Hector Luna, and Luna is looking at extra bases. So 1-out double for the Cardinals second baseman Hector Luna. And that'll bring in Skip Schumacher. Now, you were talking about the frustration that Jim Tracy has had, in particular with Ian Snell, the pitcher that made a start against Chicago yesterday. And he said, you know, we have young pitchers, and I understand that, but we've got to forget the mentality that we can't win games just because we're young. As you get a look at Luna picking up the extra base hit. I mean, Jim Tracy has seen only 2 quality starts so far, and this team has got out of the game with a 4-10 start. That's it.
Remember, they were 0-6 to start the season on the road. And you start feeling sorry for yourself. As I said, the only way you're going to learn is to be out there on the mound and experience things, good, bad, and different. 7.25 ERA coming in.
Schumacher drills it to the second baseman. Hard hit, but right at Castillo. Some tough luck there.
And good base running by Luna not to get doubled off.
Well, if you're looking for Cardinals baseball tickets, the newly renovated Hilton St. Louis at the ballpark brings you winning Cardinals baseball packages all season long. Choose from 2 packages, both with Busch Stadium view rooms and a chance to check out that Build-A-Bear workshop at Busch Stadium. 4-2-1-1-7-7-6 as Marquis hits it to third. Miranda fires over to Wilson. The Cardinals strand a man. They've left 4 on in 4 innings. Pirates half of the 4th coming up. They're down by 2. Al is showing me his arm that will be cut on, what, this week? Thursday. Good luck. Why didn't you tell me this as we get a look at our Affleck trivia question? Who was the Pirates team home run leader in 1985 with only 12 round trippers back in 1985? So it's your non-throwing arm, huh?
Yep. That's not like the Lumber and Lightning company with 12 home runs
No.
a league team, huh?
It's amazing.
Probably Barry.
Probably right. Now, Al, here is Jason Bay, a guy that can hit the long ball pretty well. Their team in home runs a season ago, he's got 2 this year to be Bay, Burnitz, and Craig Wilson. So 3, 4, and 5 to face Marquis. That's a foul ball. You know, I was looking this up. The last time that the Pirates had a winning season, so 13 consecutive losing seasons, Fred McGriff led the league in home runs. He had 35 that year. Ryan Sandberg was the highest paid player at $7 million a year. And since then, the Pirates have changed ownership, ballparks, divisions. It's been a while since they've won some games. That's inside again on Bay. 2 balls and a strike. Had a great run for a little bit there with Jim Leland and Bonds and Van Slyke, Raybeck.
And then the salary started escalating, and this franchise has never been well supported. Made some very poor decisions in some of their free agent acquisitions.
Remember when they moved into this ballpark, Derek Bell was one of their big signings, 3 years and $9 million to play right field. Never even finished out the contract. Kevin Young
he got
for a
paid,
while.
though.
He sure did. There's Chuck Tanner.
And Chuck was here, of course. He got traded for a player. Andrew. Things were a lot easier. You know, you could get rid of players back then. Guy didn't fit in, wasn't making a lot of money where you could get rid of him. And now sometimes you figure out what the contract status is before you ever even talk about whether the guy could play.
Broken bat hit out to center. That'll carry to Sotoguchi. So that's a couple of broken bats that Marquis has been able to get. And Bay is retired, a dangerous hitter, for the first out to start the bottom half of the 4th. A lot of talk that Kevin McClatchy, the owner of the Pirates, would sell. And if he did sell during the offseason, it may go to a Pittsburgh native, Mark Cuban, the owner of the Mavericks.
try to get him interested. Of course, he has a lot of money. There's the owner of the Pirates, Kevin McClatchy. He's tried to save baseball and save baseball in here in Pittsburgh, but now it's wearing thin on him.
They did go out and spend some money this year. They gave Bay a 4-year contract. They brought in Jeremy Burnett's Joe Randa to try to upgrade the offense, which they've done. They just don't have pitching.
They got some young pitching.
But you wonder if these guys at this point in their careers are ready, as that one is hit a mile high into shallow right center field. Will be taken there by So Taguchi. So 2 up, 2 down. Greg Wilson will dig in, who's 0 for 1. Marquis looks sharp tonight with a lead of 2-0. We turn to our Aflac trivia session. So who's the Pirates team home run leader in '85 with 12 dingers? Jason Thompson.
Yeah, another household name.
Yeah. Guess from the truck was Chico Lean. Jose Lean. It's Craig Wilson. Backs up from an inside delivery from Jason Marquis. Popped out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Wilson off to a good start. And he grounds this one to Scott Rowland. Pirates go 1-2-3. We move to the 5th. And the Cardinals have the top of the order coming up. Eckstein, Taguchi, and Pujols. Up 5. Cardinals playing game number 2 of this 3-game set against the Pirates will come your way with Cardinals on deck with Pat Paris at 5:30 here on FSN. Cardinals and Pirates in game number 2. Jeff Suppan will make that start for St. Louis, the former Pirate, against Oliver Perez. Chris Carpenter will go on Wednesday against Victor Santos.
I didn't talk about Oliver Perez. I mean, very disappointed in him. He's had 3 starts. His best one was opening day, and 2 horrendous ones since. And there's a guy that you thought a couple years ago would be an upper echelon pitcher by now.
Yep. It's a ball inside to David Eckstein. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's 0 for 2. He's grounded out to second and grounded out to short. Sparse crowd here at PNC Park.
Perez is 0-2, ERA 8.10.
Here's Oliver Perez.
11 2/3 innings, 14 hits, 10 runs, 10 earned runs, 2 home runs allowed, 7 walks, 5 strikeouts, 298 points per inning.
Ball, 2 strikes. Tom Mee, our director, with us. Doug Stanton, Mike Helling, our Bud Productions crew. Brian McCann, and of course our Pittsburgh-based crew doing a wonderful job tonight. Count of 2 balls, 2 strikes on David Eckstein. And Brad Straubinger is with us tonight as well. 3-2 pitch. Eckstein hits it to the second baseman, handled there by Jose Castillo. And David is 0 for 3, and it brings in So Taguchi, 1 for 2 with a run scored tonight. Singled and scored back in the first, lined out to right his second time up. Cardinals, if you would play the season this way, they'd be awfully happy by winning those home series 2 games out of 3 and playing .500 on the road.
I've had 4 series. They've won 3 of them.
Easily could have swept Milwaukee if not for that Carlos Lee catch. And Friday night's game was just a gem thrown by Harang and Carpenter. The 0-2 pitch. So stays alive. Pujols on deck. 2 weeks into the season, and combined in Major League Baseball, teams were hitting 270. It's the highest it's been since 1939.
And look at all the home runs.
Yep. Taguchi hits it to short. Wilson has to be quick. Throws on the run, and so beats it out. So Taguchi is 2 for 3 on the night. Brings in Pujols, who is 2 for 2. Homered his first time up. So that was 4 consecutive at-bats with home runs for Pujols. And he doubled to right center. Great effort here by Jack Wilson.
Surrounds that ball, but this grass is a little higher.
Al, I talked to Joe Patini about it earlier tonight. I said, is this higher? He said, I think it is too.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a couple balls in the outfield that really slowed down once they're going across the grass. And that ball right there, a little quicker. Sometimes you slow it down to help your infielders, but there are times it hurts your infielders because the ball doesn't get to them as quickly.
Infield at St. Louis is a higher cut this year than it has been at the old Busch.
And I think they'll work on that.
Center fielder Duffy is nearly on the track as Pujols looks at a ball inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Of course, it was Jason Marquis yesterday that got on base in front of Albert, and Albert drove him in, and Taguchi twice has done that here tonight.
And when you do that, you have to pitch to Albert.
With runners on, 500 average, 5 home runs, and a .630 on base percentage. Pujols, 9 home runs, 19 RBIs to start the year. Albert looks at a ball outside, and it's 3-1 with 1 out, and so Taguchi the runner at first.
Start the year. That's some players' year.
Right.
Of course, the way Albert hits in this ballpark, outfielders might be sitting in the first row. Might have more chances to catch his vicious attacks.
Just like when McGuire was going at his rate, look at the players in both dugouts. They just stop what they're doing and watch this man hit. The 3-1 pitch, and Pujols takes ball 4. So after the lineup by David Eckstein to start the inning, Taguchi reaches on the infield hit, a walk to Pujols, 3rd time he's been on base. He leads the league in total bases, and it brings in Scott Rowland, who is 0 for 1 with a walk. That's the 2nd walk handed out by the lefty. Let's see if Scott Rowland can't make him pay. Talking with Tony before the game, Al, they are going to do a 2 for 1 basically with Rowland. Sit him on Wednesday, off day Thursday, and get him back-to-back days off.
Well, it's been remarkable that he's played every single day and
Sure
every
is.
inning, and so that makes a lot of sense. You got to keep, whether it's Spezio or whoever goes over there, Lehman. Somebody goes over there to play third base, keep them a little sharp.
Rolling out in front, good pitch, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Scott always said that it was the toughest for him to play a day game after a night game. Holm really pulled the string on him.
Runners at first and second with 1 out. The pitch to Scott Rowland. Fastball in there for a strike at 90 miles an hour. Scott had a solo home run yesterday in the 5th. He went back-to-back with Albert. Outfield deep in the 1-2 pitch, and Rowland pulls it foul. One ball, 2 strikes on the Cardinal third baseman.
Scott had just 5 hits on the homestand, but he had 6 RBIs because Albert frequently being on base.
And Rowland takes a ball inside, and it's 2-2. How about the defense too? There's been Absolutely no hesitation whatsoever by Scott Rowland with that sore shoulder, diving to either side, to his right or his left, and he came up with a couple of unbelievable plays in that first series of the homestand, in particular against Milwaukee.
I think when you think about the homestand from a player's standpoint, you know, the ballpark was fair, playing surface was exceptional, and it'll just get better.
Talking with Bill Finley, the head groundskeeper, who did just a wonderful job with the field. He said they're going to cut the outfield a little differently. You'll see that on Friday night. What they found, as they talked to some of the players, is that when the ball would skip, it would snake. It wouldn't be right at them in a straight line. It would kind of jet back and forth, and they want to try to rectify that problem, if it is even considered a problem, but
well,
just make it a little bit better.
Yeah, the way they put the cut to the designs into the outfield, it'll create, like you say, lanes where it's going with the grain does one thing, when it goes against the grain.
Runners are going, and Rowland hits it out to left. They're going to have to retreat quickly. Bay back into second base. A race to Taguchi at second base. And he's back in there safely. Hit on the button, but right at Jason Bay. There's 2 down, and it's up to Juan Encarnacion.
I mean, every time.
Runners on, Al, for 0-1.
He's taking off, and then he realized the line drive, locates it, and scrambles back. Jason Bay has an average arm. They say Duffy has a good arm, and Burnitz has a good arm and right. But that allowed the ever hustling Taguchi to get back. But how about Juan? You think he'd ever catch a break? Do you think he'd come up with runners in scoring position in less than 2 outs?
Is this it? Is this the at-bat he's going to come through?
I told you he's going to be my star of the game.
Juan has picked up a broken bat single to right his first time up, and he had runners on at first and second his last time and lined out to right. Hard hit ball, though.
Yeah. Well, things are starting to come for him.
The 0-1 pitch. Oh, caught him. So the bases will be loaded as Encarnacion is hit by the pitch. It'll bring in the catcher, Molina. Your hitting star just got hit.
He's on base.
One way or another, it's a positive, right?
That's right. He was ready to oblige me, and that looked like I got him in the calf.
Not much of a reaction there from Juan. So the bases are loaded. The inning started with a line out by David Eckstein and a single by Taguchi. Walk to Pujols. Rowland flied to left. Encarnacion hit by the pitch. And the batter will be Yadier Molina.
Jim Colburn, pitching coach for Jim Tracy, and he was his coach in Los Angeles. He was on the same pitching staff with Jim in Kansas City, where he threw a no-hitter, witnessed by none other than Mike Ellen. He was the only one in attendance that day.
Our fine producer, Mike Kelly, and his dad was there too, Al.
So there were 2 people to witness it.
That's right. Here's Molina with the bases loaded. Takes a ball outside. Yadier tonight has grounded back to the pitcher. And he's also struck out looking on a wide strike his last time up and argued just a bit with our home plate umpire. 1-0 pitch with the bases loaded. And Molina takes ball 2, and time called by Paulino, the catcher. Already 100 pitches thrown.
Well, see, that's what happens with these young pitchers, where going around the plate, trying to, compete, and sometimes they don't trust their stuff, where they go right after and attack hitters, trying to be too fine. They fall behind, and that pitch count gets up there high.
Starting to stretch out there in the Pirates bullpen as Molina takes strike 1. Maholm is due up 4th for the Pirates in their half of the 5th. Cardinals lead it if you're just joining us on an Albert Pujols first inning 2-run homer to center field. The 2-1 pitch. The inside corner. And again, you go back to the last at bat with Molina. Remember that outside pitch, Al? It looked to be a little bit outside, and now that one catches the inside part.
And it's a fine line how to argue if you're the catcher
Trying to work for your own pitcher.
Yeah, a lot of times you say, okay, I'll accept it. You give my pitcher that call.
2-2 pitch. Molina pulls it foul out in front.
I mean, it could be a tough out in RBI situations.
Base is loaded, 2 down. The count of 2 balls, 2 strikes. The next to Molina. Almost hit him.
So that's a 2-2 pitch. You really want to throw a strike right there. You do not want to have the merry-go-round. 2 outs, full count on the batter, and all the runners are moving.
Pretty good speed there at first base and Encarnacion, so you get one in the gap in the spacious outfield. He's got a chance to score.
That's it.
Molina shoots it foul.
Molina was a looking breaking ball there. Got the fastball, but just enough to just spoil the pitch.
Yadier is hitting .214 on the year. Still looking for that first home run and 6 RBIs. It's a big spot in this game for this young starter. The 3-2 pitch. Molina grounds it to third. Randa takes his time, fires to first, and the Cardinals strand. The bases loaded. 5 innings, and they have left 7 on. Gorgeous night for baseball at PNC Park, host to this year's All-Star game. You're going to see an All-Star from St. Louis. Albert Pujols back in the first, a 2-run homer. That made it 4 consecutive at-bats, with 3 yesterday and his first tonight that he had homered. 35 players had done it. 4 consecutive at-bats with a home run. And it's Marquis going back to work, and we've talked so much about Albert Pujols. Jason Marquis of the first 4 innings has looked sharp. He has struck out 1, walked 1, and allowed just 1 hit.
Well, they too have done their job, and this game, you just kind of lack of timely hitting has kept the Pirates in this ball game. It's 2-0. The Cardinals have stranded 7 already. So Jason's has to go right after these guys and do what he has been doing. He's been doing a good job of changing speeds and really pitching inside enough to where you can get him to roll over on some of the pitches away, ground balls.
Count of 1 ball, 2 strikes on Joe Randa, third baseman for Pittsburgh. Hot shot to Eckstein to his left. Gets up, fires and throws, and makes a good play.
Get that lead man and let your defense play behind you, do their job. It's a hard hit ball, but David knocks it down, picks it up, gets a little momentum behind his throw, and throws across the diamond. And all these guys, you got 7 guys behind you, 1 guy in front of you. All they're trying to do is help you out. So throw strikes, put the ball in play.
Jose Castillo, the hitter, the second baseman, fly to center his first time up.
It's not about strikeouts. Jason has 1 strikeout on the night, but he's controlling the at-bats, getting ahead of the counts.
The 0-1 pitch. Al, I was talking with Tony La Russa the other day about the fact is the Cardinals have 4/5 of their starting rotation up for free agency. And I said, that's got to be extra motivation for your guys. And he said, well, absolutely. It's human nature. Certainly they're going to be motivated by that. This one is blooped out to right. Encarnacion coming on. He's going to make the catch. He said, but we have had a situation develop over the last few years. He said, where, hey, we all know the money's going to be there, but these guys push each other. So he said, I'm being honest. I'm not so much sure how much motivation there is. The fact that the light at the end of the tunnel is so much more that these guys want to win and compete against each other.
Well, and one thing that really comes into play is Chris Carpenter. I mean, Jason Marquis is making more money than Chris Carpenter, and he accepts it, and he's fine with it.
A line out off the bat of Paulino to Scott Rowland, and we are through 5 here at PNC Park. Luna, Schumacher, and Marquis coming up in Pittsburgh. Dan McLaughlin, Al Brabowski. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light, and tomorrow night we'll come your way with the Cardinals on Deck program at 5:30. And our first pitch at 6 o'clock, Jeff Suppan and Oliver Perez. Perez 0-2, as Al told you earlier, with an ERA that's over 8. And Suppan 0-1 on the year. Hector Luna has doubled and struck out, off to a good start, hitting .500.
3-game hitting streak. Nice series he had against Cincinnati. He was 4 for 5 with a home run.
Versatile guy for Tony La Russa. Can play left, can play right in the infield spots as well. And has that good speed off the bench. Pulls it for a base hit. So he's 2 for 3, and the leadoff man is on. Friday night, get a look around the major leagues. The FSN Baseball Report. We're covering your teams all season long on the FSN Baseball Report. 6 o'clock on Friday night. At 6:30 the pregame, and then the Cubs and the Cardinals in game 1.
And I always enjoy your portion of that baseball report.
We've got some odd notes coming up in this Friday's report, Al. You'll have to tune in.
I will.
There's Schumacher squaring, and this is where Jason Marquis, Al, can be just such a vital cog in this lineup, because you just don't think about bunting in front of the pitcher, but Marquis just isn't a normal pitcher.
Exactly, and remember, you got a left-handed hitter here against a left-handed pitcher. Struck out Schumacher the first time. Last time he lined hard to second base.
So Wilson holding at first, Randa in at third, and the pitch is taken for a ball. 2-0 as Jose Oquendo flashes the signs.
And remember now that fall behind 2-0, and you got good speed over there. Luna, Schumacher's having a little trouble with Oquendo. So
Oquendo's going to run down to the box and whispered in his ear.
And they said, "I got it. It's still the bunt's taken off. It's hit and run."
The 2-0 pitch. Chop to the second baseman. Castillo bobbles. A little short hop, so either way you want to look at it, Schumacher advances the runner to second base, and an RBI opportunity now for Marquis. Marquis is 0 for 2. He's grounded out to second, grounded out to third. Picked up his lone RBI in the opening series of the year against the Phils as the Cardinals swept Philadelphia. Runner is going. A check swing and a stolen base. And a terrific jump from Hector Luna.
Luna has that speed. You really don't realize how big he is, but he is one of the speedier runners they have. And pitcher kind of forgetting about him there, and he's kind of tall and long in his delivery, so an excellent opportunity to steal, and then complicate it with a short hop to throw him to Randa, the third baseman. It's kind of manufacturing your scoring opportunity.
Infield is drawn in. 2 strikes on Marquis. Cardinals may have picked up something, as you mentioned, Al. He was slow to the plate. He got a great jump, and they figure that 1.3 from the time it's released out of the hand of the catcher. If it's at 1.3, that's kind of the benchmark whether or not they can go. What you're talking about is 1.3 seconds to the plate.
Yeah, but remember, there's also a time that your catchers fall into too, but most of the time we're talking about throwing to second base. Going to third, it's a shorter throw. But if you get a good jump, you're stealing off the pitcher.
Here's a 1-2. Marquis swings and misses. It's a big strikeout there.
Fourth in the game, and the dangerous hitter, the Silver Slugger Award winner, Marquis.
So 2 outs. It's up to Eckstein. 0 for 3, average at .283. Started the night at .300.
Led the majors with a .373 batting average, runners in scoring position in 05, but this year a slow start in that department, 1 for 8.
Outfield very shallow for Eckstein, and he takes strike 1. All kinds of room into left center field. This is a very spacious ballpark, especially out near the bullpens. It's 410
was watching Craig Wilson, the first baseman, and he's playing way back. And
back to the pitcher, and he saves a run. Cardinals have left 8 on tonight. Midway through the 6th, and they lead it by 2 runs. Burgh, Pennsylvania. Cardinals have left 8 on as Jason Marquis goes back to work. And a pinch hitter here for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Freddie Sanchez is the hitter, as the Cardinals lead it 2-0 behind Albert Pujols' 2-run homer back in the first. Sanchez right and rolling, and he makes the play.
Jason's made some good pitches, and he's had some good defense and luck behind him. Why not take advantage of this left side of the infield, particularly when you got a Gold Glover like Scott Rowland, 6 of those on his mantle. Give these Pirates credit. They're hanging in there. They're a young pitcher. Gave up the 2-run home run to Pujols, but he didn't wilt.
And now it's Duffy, as the Pirates have just 1 hit tonight as we play here in their half of the 6th. Fastball and a strike to Chris Duffy. It's been a generous strike zone for this home plate umpire, to say the least. Charlie Rutherford, the crew chief tonight, is behind the plate. 2 strikes. No balls, 2 strikes on Chris Duffy. Played in 39 games a year ago and hit .341, but he did strike out a bunch, and they'd like him to cut down on that. Another ground ball taken here by Hector Luna, 2 away. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals LLC and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals LLC. Glad you're with us from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Alongside of Albert Bosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 2 outs, nobody on, and the batter is Jack Wilson. Marquis is throwing hard at 93 miles an hour on that last pitch. Cool night. This is a perfect night for a pitcher.
You feel strong. It's kind of cool air. Remember, Jason, last year 4 starts against the Pirates, winless. 0-2 with an ERA over 6. By far best against the Pirates in a couple years.
Ball inside and low. Among National League teams, only the Rockies and Dodgers have picked up more hits.
Have Jason throwing a pitch 97 tonight? I've heard some people say that the gun at Busch Stadium is a little low. I'd have to say this one's a bit high.
Up the middle, taken by Luna, throws on the run. Can he get him? Oh, yes! What a play! Fantastic play from Hector Luna. How about that, partner?
That was outstanding. Jim Tracy's going to go out and have a talk with Larry Vanover. I put a 6-3. Look where he threw that from.
Well, let's see if the Pirates have a beef. And on this replay, I think Jim Tracy's got all the right in the world to be a little upset. Wilson on the bag right there. Throw is not in time, but still a tremendous effort from Hector Luna. It looked like Wilson was safe, but the Cardinals will take it. Marquis has allowed just 1 hit so far, and the Cardinals lead it by the score of 2-0 as we start play here in the 7th. Fans, you can win a 2007 Hyundai Sonata in the long drive inning sweepstakes. Visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer now to register, and good luck from FSN. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Chevrolet. Solomon Torres still going.
Well, played in 12 games, and here is his 9th game already, and 2-run. Throw a lot of games. He was at 78 a year ago for the Pirates.
I feel he could be a fallback guy if Mike Gonzalez, their closer, can't get the job done. They also have Roberto Hernandez in their bullpen.
And a lot of people think Hernandez is great down there. 300 saves to lead all their young relievers.
And Wilson commits an error. Rarely will you see that. He's about as sure-handed as they get out there at shortstop. So an error on Jack Wilson. And this is a Pirates team, Al, that's played very good defense so far. They've hit the ball well. They just haven't pitched well. Wilson made a career low 14 errors a season ago and led all shortstops in assists, chances, and double plays, and just picked it up a little too soon.
Well, Taguchi's speed and everything, and I think Jack Wilson probably thinking about the Rob call at first base, but tried to angle his body and turn a little bit to have that exchange, pop it into the glove and throw in all in one motion. It just didn't look it into the glove.
Here's Pujols. Albert pops it up. Long way to go for Bay. He was playing near the track, and he makes the catch for the first out to start the 7th. So Pujols retired for the first time as he hit that thing a mile high. Albert tonight a 2-run homer, a double to the opposite field, and a walk. And now the pop out to left, back to first Taguchi, and it brings in Scott Rowland. Torres is an interesting story in the fact that he actually left baseball for a year or two and was teaching in the Dominican, and he felt pretty good. He said, I'm going to try to make a comeback, and that comeback now has lasted 4 more years.
He was actually pitching coach in summer league for the Pirates, and he was throwing BP and throwing harder than the prospects they had on that team. But he was just byproduct of a meltdown during pennant chase.
Back in '93 while pitching with Dusty Baker's San Francisco Giants.
All right, came up, did a nice job for the Giants, and then kind of just had some problems, lost a couple crucial games down the stretch, and just kind of played with his mind. To Seattle, Montreal, and then kind of hung it up over to Korea 1 year. I just noticed he was signed by a scout that I played with down in the Dominican, Elvio Jimenez. He's a third baseman. He played on Licey, the blue team.
No balls, a strike on Scott Rowland, and the runner at first base, and a check on So Taguchi over there at first. Cardinals lead it 2-0. That's ripped out to left. That will carry to Bay. One hop in front of him, almost got past him. Taguchi, aggressive base running, and the 30 goes. Got it. Aggressive, and he gets caught. And a strong throw from Bay out left.
I would say he has an average throwing arm, but that was a situation there. I'm not sure if he should have tried to go. Hard hit ball. I think he read that they one-hopped Jason Bay and took an odd hop, and he was in an awkward position. Had no momentum coming forward. As you see that little grass hop right there, and had him reaching for it off balance, but he was alert to the possibility of him trying to take an extra base and made a strong throw to third.
And here's Encarnacion.
And it's 2 outs again. And the tough thing there, Rowland wasn't able to go into second and get himself in the scoring position.
Last time up, he was hit by a pitch. As he came up with runners at first and second, he's had that situation twice tonight. The other time, he flied to right and he singled his first time up.
Batter and pitcher both played toward the Dominican World Baseball Classic, one with the catcher.
Out to Chris Duffy at center. Cardinals have stranded 9 so far. Time to stretch here in Pittsburgh. The Birds up by 2. Ways to get tickets at the new Busch Stadium is the Prime Seat Club on STLCardinals.com. That is season ticket holders handing back their seats and a chance for you to purchase some of the best seats in the house at the Prime Seat Club. Jason Bay, Jeremy Burnett, and Craig Wilson for the Pirates here in their half of the 7th. And again, we want to remind you, Pittsburgh will be in St. Louis at the beginning of next week, and if you're looking to get a seat, an actual seat, not standing room only, but a chance to sit down at the new Busch Stadium and check out Cardinal baseball, tickets are available, so go online at STLCardinals.com, and all seating types are available for that series next week, all 3 games. Marquis has been pounding the inside portion of the plate, backing hitters off. He's only allowed 1 hit tonight.
And remember, that was that infield little squibber that got underneath his glove.
very easily could have been an out.
Never left the infield grass.
The next to Bay is sharply hit to short, backhanded by Eckstein. Has to be quick, and he is. Cardinals defense tonight has been tremendous. We've seen a couple of ropes hit at Scott Rowland. The play by Luna to end last inning and retire Jack Wilson, and that's a good play from David Eckstein. He's made a couple today.
When you talk about him burying pitches inside, Bay is his nemesis. Falls in there, he tries to come right back. Just 4 straight fastballs, and here he gets one that he can hit it. Slow grass, made a close play.
Here's Burnitz and a ground ball to Luna for the second out.
Mason doing what he is very capable, simplifying his game, pounding that hard sinker and fastball, change-ups, occasional curveball, but really staying with the power stuff, keeping him off balance with the change-up. This was something that Dave Duncan tried to get him to do, and he started believing in it towards the end of last season. There was a period of time I don't think any of us thought he'd be back this year. He finished strong, he came back, and he's off to a great start.
It's 9 ground ball outs, and you can go back to the game against Washington, which Mark Mulder on a Saturday afternoon towards the end of last year, I'll remember this, was scheduled to make that start. He came up with back spasms, and there was talk that at that time Marquis may have been headed to the bullpen to get straightened out. He made a spot start through a complete game. He went exclusively with the sinker and dominated that performance, and after that it was win after win after win down the stretch.
That was his first complete game shutout on August 27th. Pitching on 3 days rest.
This is what you're talking about back in the third, and the base hit by Duffy. This one just kind of skips under the glove, or rather over the glove.
Yeah, bounced over his glove, and that's the only hit he has allowed here tonight. By the way, his low hit career game was that game, a 2-hitter.
Ball, third strike, and the second strikeout of the night for Marquis, who is through 7. Dominant tonight. Sure could use some insurance. Cardinals lead it 2-0 as we head to the 8th. It'll be Molina, Luna, and Schumacher coming up. He has allowed 1 hit tonight. Welcome back to PNC Park. And this is our Hardy's hot pitch of the game, Al.
See, Molina set up inside, just a good power pitch. It's his second strikeout, but Cardinal bats, they have got things going. They just can't put them away. They've stranded, what, 9 runners already.
Solomon Torres, 1 ball, 1 strike on Yadier Molina in his second inning of work. Relief of Mahome, who went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs, 7 hits, walked 2, struck out 4. And the big hit in this game was Albert Pujols back in the first. I'm sure some of our fans back home in St. Louis weren't even home from work yet. And Mr. Pujols had knocked one out to center field already with a 2-run shot. A swing and a miss by Molina. He's 0 for 4, and it brings in Luna. Let's take you back to the first inning. 4 consecutive at-bats for Albert Pujols, and he absolutely crushed this high delivery, and it went off the back drop of the Pirates batting eye out there. Almost went through it and was sitting in the shrubbery for a while. Still maybe. There it is. As Pujols is now 2 hits away from 1,000 in his career.
Easter egg.
That's what it looks like out there. Here's Luna out to deep right field. Burnitz near the track, and he makes the catch. Two away here in the top of the 8th. Who's raising the bar? Our singular wireless question. Which of the new stadiums in the Central is the most scenic? Al voted 30 times to A. There you go, Al.
See?
It worked.
PNC Park would be my second choice.
really miss the roof in Milwaukee creaking and allowing rain in, just pouring onto the fans. I thought that might creep into your.
It was never sold as a true umbrella.
You just expect it when you have a
Yeah,
roof, though.
well, you do expect that, but they advertise that it was watertight.
Just certain things I expect when I see a roof. One would be to stay dry. I don't think you're asking for too much.
You wear a raincoat when you go take a shower, right?
In your world, yes. Skip Schumacher with a ball and 2 strikes. Lines it out to left field, and a sliding grab, and the catch is made by Jason Bay. So that's 2 hard-hit balls off the bat of Skip Schumacher. Another look, did Bay get it, or did he trap it?
No, I think he caught it.
Good catch at Sea Park in Pittsburgh. As Jason Marquis will go back to work. The first pitch low to Joe Randa. It'll be Randa here, followed by Castillo and Ronnie Paulino. 1 hit allowed thus far by Marquis. It's been ground ball after ground ball.
And pounding inside and shattered a couple bats. There you see one fouling off of Randa's leg. It's been fun to watch Jason. I know you were at the Blues game last night, but it was also fun to see Jason's young daughter, Reese Madison, in her little Easter dress yesterday. Reese did not drive. His wife Debbie drove, but she had a little white frilly Easter dress on. She was a cutie.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Positioned perfectly as Luna's had a good ball game tonight.
Luna's going to get some more playing time, at least from that too. A couple hits here tonight.
He just, in my opinion, now he kind of just teases you with all the talent that he's got. At times, just like Marquis has in his Cardinals career. But Luna's a guy with speed. He's got a little bit of pop in his bat. Obviously, good range, as we saw in that play that he made on the shortstop side of the second base bag, but just kind of teases you, and that's why the Cardinals have always been intrigued with him.
Well, they also know that Luna's not going to hit well in spring training, and if you send him down, he's not going to be as good a player in minor leagues. Just come to accept it that he can do a lot of things to help a good ball club win. Jason is well on his way to showing that he is very focused this year for a very important season, walk year.
0-2 the count on Castillo. It's a spot just outside.
1 ball, 2 strikes. If he's had any 3-ball counts here tonight. Let's throw his curveball.
Well hit out to right center field. That could be trouble. Encarnacion won't get it. And it hops over the wall for a ground rule double for Jose Castillo, and the tag run will come to the plate. That may have done the Cardinals a favor. Castillo can run, and he was flying.
We talked about it, the LOBs on the day, the left on bases we feature on ours. Switched off right at the last second, throws that fastball, and it's up over the middle of the plate, not down the corner, and Castillo rips it for the ground rule double. And there goes all the 9 left on base for the Cardinals, not putting away these young Pirates. Will that come back to haunt them? Jason needs to deal right now.
1 out, runner at second. Here is the catcher, Paulino. Jason Marquis, of course, selected by the Braves. A supplemental round sandwich pick between the first and second round. 35th overall back in '96. Compensation for their failure to sign Chad Hutchinson, who then wound up in St. Louis, then wound up in the NFL. 0-2 the count.
Paulino, ball jumps off of his bat. Big, strong guy. Only hitting 240 in the minor leagues for his recall yesterday.
Ryan Dumit, their everyday catcher. Humberto Cota is the backup tonight. And they had told Paulino that, hey, don't expect to play. You're going to serve as a backup. And he gets up here and he's inserted right into the lineup.
Went to Tracy saying, oh, I'm going to play Cota all the time. He probably won't get get to play, and here he starts the first day.
Here's Roland, 2 away on a low throw over to Albert.
The ground ball. And the runner couldn't advance.
Cardinal fans, are you always traveling and missing games? Well, watch the Cardinals online at MLB.tv. STLCardinals.com has more live games than anyone else. STLCardinals.com, where baseball is always on. So pinch hitter here, Al. Nate McCluth, an outfielder batting from the left side.
It's another center fielder.
Scott Rowland. Even with the bag at third base, the outfield is straight away.
McCluth homered against Jason Marquis for his first home run. That was last year on August 23rd, right here at PNC Park.
Well, let's see what McCluth can do here. Base hit up the middle. They're going to wave him in, and Testo Taguchi, he's going to score easily as it's bobbled out there in center. An RBI, and the lead is cut in half here in the 8th. It's 2-1.
Talked about how these Pirates have just stayed tough. They wouldn't fold as the Cardinals are stranding runners left and right. And now missing his spots. That was supposed to be further away. Said Castillo runs well, and so bobbled the exchange.
So the tying run is at first base. Go ahead run at the plate. The batter back to the top of the order is Chris Duffy. No activity in the Cardinal bullpen. Rolling in on the grass at third base, and that one is foul and out of play. To go back to those runners left on base, 9 and 8 innings of play for the Cardinals offensively. Jason Marquis' spot is due up first in the 9th inning, then the top of the order. Trying to get there with a 1-run lead. Here comes an 0-1 pitch from Marquis. Fastball outside at 89 miles an hour.
Duncan, Tony La Russa watching, paying attention. There are 2 out, showing confidence in Jason.
Here's a 1-1. Popped up out to center field. Should be handled easily by Taguchi, and it is with 2 hands, and we head to the 9th. Pirates get on the board against Marquis, and it's 2-1.
We are back at PNC Park. Cardinals lead the Pirates 2-1 here on FSN Midwest, and coming up immediately after the broadcast, it is the Busch Light Midwest Sports Report. We'll have the star of the game, hopefully a live on-the-field interview if the score keeps up, and then we'll also wrap up the Blues as their season ends tomorrow night at Chicago. We'll have a preview of that. Dan and Al, we'll see you right after the game.
All right, Pat, thank you. 2-1 Cardinals, top of the 9th.
And here, pinch hitting for Marquis is Spezio, who got his first Cardinal hit. Did it in fine fashion, hit a home run over the weekend.
And a curtain call to boot.
Yeah, kind of pushed him up there, first of his career. And of course, he and his father, Ed, now are first father and son combos to have home runs for the Redbirds.
This guy has got nasty stuff on the mound. He is their closer, Mike Gonzalez, out of Corpus Christi, Texas. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Chevrolet. 5 games, he's got a record of 0-1 and a 3.60 ERA. Look at that, 94 from Gonzalez. You can get it up there, Adam.
Get it up there. He's got a decent breaking ball. He's got 2 saves on the young season. They got about, what, 6 or 7 lefties, and there's Izzy trying to protect a run lead with 3 outs to go. Maybe the Cardinals can get it a little cushion.
Just in their bullpen alone, Gonzalez, Graybo, and Marte. A couple starters in the rotation from the left side.
They got 3 starters in the rotation, and possibly bring up another left-hander if they send Snell down. And they got another starter, Burnett, on rehab. Sean Burnett, he's on rehab.
1 ball, 1 strike on David Eckstein, the Cardinal leadoff man. He's 0 for 4. And Taguchi and possibly Pujols if they can get there. Foul back. So Isringhausen getting loose in the Cardinal bullpen. Let's face it, Al, if the Cardinals are going to go anywhere this year, 2 guys have got to really emerge in that bullpen, Isringhausen and Looper. So 94 pitches for Marquis, and the Cardinals will elect to go with Isringhausen to close it out in the 9th. He will deal with Jack Wilson, Jason Bay, and Jeremy Burnitz.
Tony saying Izzy's been a little too hard on himself. Well, if you're going to be a closer, you have to be your own toughest critic. And he's not going to phase him. We've been through these wars.
Pitch to Taguchi. 2 balls and no strikes. Taguchi has been on base 3 times. He scored a run back in the 1st on the 2-run home run by Pujols. Will that hold up tonight? Gonzalez has been traded away by the Pirates before.
Got him back.
Got him
the
back.
Boston one?
Yeah, the Jeff Suppan deal.
Good Tracy. Everybody's looking for left-handers, but some people worry that, well, they have too many in their rotation, or possibly 4 of them very shortly, and then 3 in their bullpen.
3 balls and 1 strike on Taguchi. Gonzalez, I guess it's just human nature. You think about the guy on deck.
Well, you go out there as a pitcher, and you look at the guy on deck and say, the last thing I want to do is walk the guy in front of him. And many times when you concentrate on that, you walk the guy in front of him.
Very well could have been ball 4. Now it's a full count on the center fielder tonight, Taguchi, with Jim Edmonds on the bench with that sore shoulder.
That's one thing. Taguchi's been chasing a lot of pitches up in the zone. Stay with himself, stay in the strike zone, and he's getting his hits.
Here comes a 3-2 pitch. And so hits it out to shallow right field. Should be caught, and it will by Burnitz. So the Cardinals go 1-2-3 against Gonzalez. Izzy and the 9th. The bottom half coming up. Jack in the Box game recap. Cardinals leading 2-1. The defensive play of the game, Hector Luna, with an unbelievable play at second base. Luna would also swipe a bag at third base. Of course, one of the stories tonight, Jason Marquis on the mound for the Cardinals. Dominant. And speaking of dominant, how about that man in the middle of your lineup? Albert Pujols with a 2-run homer back in the 1st. And now a new story, Al. 9th inning. Jason Isringhausen, a long walk from the bullpen, taking his warm-up tosses. And against Izzy, this is who he's going to face here in this bottom half of the 9th. Jack Wilson, Jason Bay, and Burnitz. Not great success there. 0 for 7 is Wilson. Bay 1 for 6. Does have a home run. And Burnitz 0 for 2.
Well, Izzy had 39 saves a year ago. His 6th straight season with 20 or more saves. He ranks 2nd on the Cardinals all-time save list with 143. And chasing Lee Smith in that department, and he'll pass him this year. As Lee has 160. But Tony felt that everything was going to be all right when he got Jason back into save situations, and he's got it here.
Ninth inning, and the first pitch at 93 miles an hour is upstairs to Jack Wilson. Wilson tonight has popped out to short, fly to left, and grounded out to second. That was the play by Luna. Looked like he was safe on the replay, but called out. So ball, one strike.
Jason made some good pitches, but at times when he tried to put people away, he just wasn't finishing off. Every time he threw a backup cutter, it was hit hard. But, you know, we always talk about hitters going in slumps. Pitchers go in slumps also. But the only way to battle out of them, just like a hitter, is keep them in the lineup. If you got a save, you got a closer, you put him in closing situations.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Extra base hit possibly here for Wilson. Down the third base line, out to get it will be Eckstein. He's going to let it go to Schumacher, and the leadoff man is on. The tying run at second base.
Jack Wilson, one of those pesky little hitters, and Scott Rowland was off the third base line. Wasn't guarding the third base line. If he is, we've got out number one. But that ball just didn't do anything. Kind of sat right there, right off that carom there, and Eckstein was running out there, but Schumacher gets to it first. But David alert to that ball, and sometimes it's easier for the shortstop to get to those balls that hit those side walls and come back towards the infield.
That was a 2-1 pitch, and Wilson was sitting on a fastball, and he got it. Now it's Bay, and a swing and a miss. Dangerous man at the plate. All-star last year, rookie of the year back in 2004. The tying run, Wilson at second base. Outfield is deep, and the pitch.
The curveball that Izzy threw a lot in spring training and had good success. And it's kind of been his cutter that has betrayed him of late. It's his signature pitch, his favorite pitch. And then sometimes when you throw so many of those, you reach back for a fastball, it's not there.
Here's a 1-1. Strike two. Good pitch.
Curveball again. With that double, his adrenaline is flowing.
Izzy is set. Count of 1-2 on Jason Bay. Got him on a swing and a miss. Huge strikeout there for Isringhausen. Arguably the most dangerous man in this lineup, and he strikes him out.
And with the 3 breaking balls, there he gets a very good hitter, overly aggressive, and got himself out.
Now it's Burnitz. Eckstein trying to keep Wilson near the bag at second base, and that's a strike on the inside corner. Burnitz tonight 0 for 3. Grounded back to the pitcher Marquis. Fly to center, grounded out to second.
Kind of like Izzy, that big strikeout, getting the first out of the inning.
The 0-1 pitch. Curveball and a beauty. Molina was asking for it down. It was up in the zone a little bit, but just enough to catch the strike zone for strike two.
Yeah, set up out of way, but you see it's in the middle of the plate. A little bit in, but it froze the hitter also. He was fooled by the breaking ball. Look at down there, he's bouncing, probably a breaking ball again.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Another breaking ball, and he strikes him out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Isringhausen.
Now when you sit there and you got the first out, you feel a little more comfortable. You see the end of the tunnel. Now you get the second strikeout, and once again getting ahead and then having him go after pitch. He has no chance. Now you may not strike him out, but you know you're going to get the job done.
How about the curveball here tonight? That's been a difference maker.
Well, sure, because it's been that cutter that has been betraying him. But the curveball, he worked a lot on it in spring training, and he was very, very good with it.
Here's Greg Wilson, almost got away from Molina. Now, we talked about Bay, how dangerous He is for the long haul of the season. As of late, it's been Craig Wilson coming into this game at homered 5 times in his last 20 at-bats. Tonight he's been quiet, 0 for 3.
Here's where you worry about a hanger with a guy like Wilson.
1-0 pitch.
Trying to get that cutter, trying to do different things, but he's a cripples hitter. Meanwhile, you make a mistake, that's where he loses it. You know, they have a tendency to hit behind in the count, get that pitch, and do some damage with it. But if you make your pitches, you're going to get Craig Wilson out.
2 balls, no strikes. Runner at second base. The outfield shapes just a bit to the opposite way. Randa is the man on deck.
4 against Isringhausen.
Jack Wilson with a leadoff double represents the tying run at second base. The 2-0 pitch. Grounder to second. Luna's there. Thrown to first, and the Cardinals win this one 2-1 to the save for Isringhausen. What a way to finish it for Jason Isringhausen as he picks up the save. Marquis is now 3-0 on the year. The Cardinals win it 2-1 despite leaving 9 runners on tonight. Our play of the game brought to you by Budweiser. And how about this defensive gem behind Jason Marquis? This is all the way back in the 6th inning to rob Jack Wilson. And that's your Budweiser play of the game. The defense was fantastic tonight behind Mr. Marquis, who went 8 innings, allowed just 1 run, 3 hits. And he's now 3-0. Isringhausen the save, Marquis the win. The final 2-1. Back to wrap things up in just a moment. No doubt he makes it interesting, but Jason Isringhausen gets the save, and the Cardinals get the win 2-1.
He's got 4 saves on the year, and I think you'll find out his confidence will soar after that performance right there, and he didn't buckle, and you pronounce him well.
Izzy is 4th save. Marquis is now 3-0. Cardinal Baseball is produced by Bud Productions and an exclusive presentation of FSN Midwest. Next Cardinals broadcast tomorrow will come your way with the pregame show at 5:30. Final score tonight, 2-1 Cardinals, thanks to Mr. Pujols. Coming up, it's the Midwest Sports Report. For Al Rabosky, Pat Paris, I'm Dan McLaughlin. So long from Pittsburgh, where the Cardinals win game number 1.
Straight ahead on MSR, we'll head right back to Pittsburgh for an interview with tonight's star of the game. When will Jim Edmonds be back in the Cardinals starting lineup? The Redbird center fielder gives us an update.
It's been nagging since 1993, I think, so it's one of those things you just have to deal with. It's been a little sore off and on, and it just kind of flared up, so I'm just trying to get it to calm down a little bit.
Dave Duncan on the bullpen's recent struggles. Aaron Miles says he's ready no matter where he is in the lineup. Plus, what should the Rams do in the upcoming NFL draft? Our insider Howard Balzer has a preview. All that and more right now on MSR.
Now, your Midwest Sports Report, presented by Busch Light.
Good evening. Welcome inside our FSN studios for the Cardinals post-game edition of Busch Light Midwest Sports Report. I'm Brent Stover.
And I'm Marshall Harris. The Cardinals hitting the road for a short 3-game road trip with the Pirates tonight in Pittsburgh. And we pick up where the game broadcast left off by sending it back to Pat, Dan, and Al at the scene, brought to you by Ace Mortgage.
All right, thanks very much. Our Chevy interview of the game is Jason Isringhausen. A little interesting, but you got the job done. Had to feel nice knowing that you gave up the double to get those 2 strikeouts in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been coming real easy for me lately, so, as soon as I give up a double, you kind of think here it goes again, but you just got to buckle down and make good pitches and trust your stuff and trust Yachty, and we did all right.
All right, how about Jason Marquis' effort tonight? It was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, we were hoping he'd get to that 8th inning with nothing. We go back out there and give him a nice complete game, but I was able to get in and get some work. I haven't worked a whole lot lately in the games, but it's been a long week for me, but it's good now.
All right, congratulations.
Okay.
Nice job.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Dan and Al, back up to you.
Okay, Pat, thank you. Good job on the pregame as well. 94 pitches for Jason Marquis tonight after 8 innings. He had only allowed 4 hits, Al, and 1 run, and Tony La Russa decides to roll the dice with Isringhausen His closer has been struggling, but hey, he gets the key outs and gets the save.
Well, I think there's a couple factors there. He gave up a run in the 8th inning. And so, you know, he was kind of losing his location. But you've got to get Izzy in a save situation, get him on track. He said he wasn't working well. He got those 2 big strikeouts. Here's the final out of the game. And he said, you trust yourself, you trust Yachty. And most importantly, as he said, it's been a long week, and I feel pretty good right now, and we're back to normal. So that's really a life of a closer. You have a very shallow and short memory, and all of a sudden, one good outing, you pronounce yourself well. Good or bad or whatever, that's what you have to do. You have to have your victories are short-lived, but so are your tough games.
Well, Jason Marquis was spectacular tonight. As we mentioned, the 94 pitches. He's now 3-0 on the season, and he gets a little help defense, and he gets some help offense as well. Hector Luna made a great play. Albert Pujols with his home run in the first, and Albert just keeps on rolling, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, Marquis was dominant, but it was this bomb in the first inning. It's just the setting effect right there. Taguchi's on base ahead of him, and he just hits a bomb. He's hit more home runs in this ballpark than any other visiting player, and it's just another Albert Pujols show. But he had a supporting cast, particularly Marquis and Jason Isringhausen.
So it'll be Jeff Suppan making the start tomorrow, the former Pirate, and the Cardinals are expecting big things from him tomorrow night.
Well, he's very capable of going out there and matching the opposition. Oliver Perez is struggling.
Oliver Perez is 0-2 with an ERA that is over 8 going into that start tomorrow night. We'll come your way at 5:30. We go